Alright, this one's a big one. It's a big one. If there's one thing that a character is going to have to decide when it comes to characterization, pretty much you're going to have to, it's their character's gender. And by that I'm referring to the mental component, I guess, as well as the physical component. This advice doesn't change drastically for transgendered characters, so whether or not those two match up doesn't matter really. I see an awful lot of questions which are basically, I'm a guy / girl, how can I write a girl / guy? Less common, but you still get ones which are like, I'm cisgendered, how can I write a person who's transgender? Gender, as well as in any of its manifestations, that includes being transgender, is not a personality trait. It is. There's no way in which women as a whole act, in the same way there's no way men as a whole act. The difference between any given man and any given woman is in terms of personality, is probably about the same as the difference between any given man or any given woman. There's no huge divide in between the sexes, really. There are differences, but they're not inherent. People are defined by what's in their head, or what's on their chest, or between their legs. That's really the crux of the entire thing. If you can write a realistic male character, then you can write a realistic female character. Processes are exactly the same. I would argue that if you genuinely can't find it in yourself to write a female character, but you manage with guys, you're probably putting a bit too much of yourself into the characters. The same goes to being able to write a female character but not male. And you should probably take a step back. That's not all. That's not. This is a weird sentence. That's all not to say that in any given situation, a male character and a female character will do the same thing. Especially not if even if they're not. Oh my god, I can't talk. Even if they are otherwise identical in personality, people's gender does influence their actions through the expectations laid onto them by the society around them, which is where you do get the major differences between men and women. This is particularly noticeable in fantasy, wherein authors have the option of crafting their settings to be wherever they want on the misogyny-misandry scale. They can choose. They'll like, well, we want it to be kind of Amazonian, matriarchal, men equal bad, or the other way around, kind of, medieval Middle East, or in the middle. They have that choice. A princess who finds herself on the throne of a king, or I guess queendom, is going to be, bound by her actions, or bound in her actions, by the courtly expectations to which she is beholden. If it's acceptable for the king to go and fight wars, but it isn't for the queen to go and fight wars, then she is likely not to go fighting wars, even if she is, even if you've written on your nice neat character sheet text that she's brave and she's headstrong and she doesn't take no for an answer, etc. It's very possible that she still might simply not do it because the backlash wouldn't be worth it. She might actually go and do it, and that might be your entire plot, kind of Joan of Arc thing. But that still kind of illuminates my point. Gender may influence people's actions, but it doesn't influence their personalities. Other text. Sequel. Text 2 Electric Boogaloo. So, the only ways in which it does influence their actions is when they are forced into or out of action by the society around them. What's inside their head doesn't change, whether that comes out. The queen who decides, fuck it, and joins her men on the battlefield despite the pressure, despite the protests of those around her, is obviously headstrong, but she'd still be headstrong even if she wasn't being told not to go, and she went. That makes sense. And she'd also still be headstrong if she had a penis. Well, I guess it'd be he would still be headstrong. There's not much I can say that would really relate this back to my own work, because I don't pay much attention to gender roles, really. It's not something which I particularly can find a fuck to give about. So, you're saved. Ultimately, though, it comes down to this: if you think yourself find yourself thinking, she wouldn't do this because she's a girl, you're wrong. She might not do that, whatever that is, but the reasons behind her not doing it are not her boobs. She might not do it because she's shy, or that a woman, or the society dictates that a woman mustn't dance around an oak tree unless it's the 14th solstice of the age. But again, the latter has more to do with the setting than her. She could very well decide that she's going to dance around the oak tree, but the setting dictates that she can't. I think a lot of people, in their rush to paint characters outside of the traditional mould of caring, motherly, tender, forget that the only way to do that is not to make them stereotypically masculine instead of feminine. Stereotypically feminine. If you do that, you end up with a character that's, has been affectionately coined a man with boobs, which is to say it's a female character who acts pretty much exactly the same as a stereotypical macho man. She's a strong female character because she beats everybody up, particularly the guys, and has them grovel at. That's the preposition I'm looking for. It really confused me because I put up on the script for some reason. Have them grovel at her feet, which is no better than a character. Which is no better a character than the damsel in distress or any of the million other absurd archetypes. I'm going to leave you with the kind of bumper sticker motto that I genuinely despise, but I think it works here quite well. Which is feminism is the radical idea that women are people. Which is to say, they're people, not a collection of tropes. Cliches. The same can be said for men, and can be said for transgendered people, or agendered people, gender fluid people, asexual people, whatever. People are people, cliches are.